Welcome to the 12 Ronnies podcast with me, Jake Shaw. 12ronnies.com helps inventors and innovators to connect with entrepreneurs and investors to create commercial teams and then get their products or services to market successfully. To find out more information, go to www.12ronnies.com and follow the links below. I had the honour of attending the Like Minds Festival of Ideas at Exeter Castle recently. In between the numerous masterclasses and great keynote speeches that you can still hear going on in the background of this recording, I spoke to Chris Moss, the man behind Virgin Atlantic, Richard Branson's ballooning and transatlantic record-breaking attempts, as well as Orange and many other disruptive brands, products and services. Chris gave me his thoughts on being dyslexic and how it affects his work, how businesses can use dyslexics to beat the competition, and how to look at things differently, and interestingly, how to start at the end and work back to the beginning. If you're an innovator or entrepreneur, you want to listen to this interview. If you're dyslexic, you really want to listen to this interview right to the end and then listen to it again. Chris Moss, the legend.
In my own lunchtime.
In your own lunchtime. So, Chris, we're in the beautiful environment of Exeter Castle. We're here at the Like Minds Ideas Festival. So most people will know about you from your experiences with Orange and Virgin and things like that. But I'd like to go a little bit further back, because one of the things that you often talk about is your dyslexia and things like that. So how much do you think that defines your sort of ability?
So it's interesting, because you're dyslexic, you struggle in the normal education system. And for most of my life, you look back on it and say, did I do myself justice? How well could I have done better? And I managed to find some of my school reports recently, and they all said the same thing, that Chris is in this biggest room in the world, the room for improvement. And it was a constant battle, because I knew I was capable of more, but somehow conforming to the way the schooling system worked just didn't work for me. And so I left school struggling really with, what am I going to do? How am I going to find some gainful employment? And so my parents are pretty good. You end up looking at things you enjoy that actually don't rely on dyslexia maybe. They rely on practical skills I had in photography and all sorts of other stuff. But the dyslexia definitely started me off on probably the wrong foot. But actually, as life's gone on, I've suddenly realised that actually that is the gift. That's the gift. That's the creative gene, as it were, that so many people are looking for now. How do you see things differently? And dyslexia brings it in spades.
I'm dyslexic as well, as is my brother. I think it gives you an ability to look at everything differently. I mean, it's not even look; it's everything. In this day and age, with the ability to communicate with everybody around the world, do things digitally, you can pre-prototype online, and all the rest of it. Do you possibly think that dyslexia is actually a positive advantage these days?
Without a doubt, but it's not to do with prototyping so much. It's about your whole attitude to life. So dyslexics see things in a different way. They compute things in a different way. So already I've seen businesses saying dyslexics only apply. So people are looking for people who can think in a different way. Yeah, if you look at some of the government departments, they're looking for people who think in a different order to others. And actually, if you look at some of the great chefs, Jamie Oliver and people like that, they see a table full of fruit and vegetables and produce, and they see a meal in there. So it's ability to see the big picture in a completely different way to everyone else. See connections that other people don't see, all manner of things.
So businesses that are looking for a advantage would be in a good position to find dyslexic people, or people at least with some of those.
They would be, although to be honest, many businesses can't put a value on creativity. So thinking differently is great, but actually implementing, making it happen is key. And so that you need to have people who not only have ideas, but actually can run with them and deliver them. And the problem with so many businesses is that it's not somewhere I want to work. So the environment a dyslexic wants to work in is one where they get good constant stimulation. They're not put behind a desk and told to read 600 emails a day. So companies might be looking for dyslexics or people who are more creative, who have an ability to think and see a bigger picture, but actually they themselves have a responsibility to how do we get the best out of these people and how do we create an environment that works for them.
you've just done a talk about being lucky. I was the one who put my hand up saying unlucky, but then you went on to cover that. Sometimes taking bad luck and turning it into an opportunity. Do you think that people are more or less able to take risks, for want of a better word, these days?
So if you're an entrepreneur in a small company, the only thing you can do to beat your competition, I think, is to take risks. Risks on shortened product development, using your gut feel to launch things. Big companies are risk averse. They're trained not to take risks, and actually they get apoplectic about the thought about anyone taking risks. But without those risks, we look at the demise of so many great companies. So right today we've got Facebook, WhatsApp, LinkedIn, Google, Microsoft, Apple. 20% of those companies, maybe 30, are going to go in 10 years' time. Why? Well, because somebody else will have come up with something else that actually beats that. And to be honest, I don't know who it's going to be. But actually, when we launched Orange, the only handset we needed was a Nokia handset. We managed to get a second one, which was a Motorola handset. And after 6 months, the sales guy said, we desperately need BlackBerry. All those three companies have gone. Nokia was worth 400 billion and disappeared in the blink of an eye. And that's because somebody else has come up with something more engaging, more intuitive, more interesting. And it's the creatives that do that, and it's the dyslexics within the creatives who are a little bit more fearless, maybe. Because I've got nothing to lose, I just want to do great stuff.
One of the things, conversations I've had in the past is with investors, being told that investors are quite risk averse. So I've got creative dyslexic people who have nothing to lose in the sense of risk. How do you think we can square those two positions?
Well, investors are risk averse because they're run on a numbers base and they want to calculate the return. The problem is that those returns are going to get smaller and smaller, so they have to take more risks. The issue, I suppose, is that what they're really saying is they're looking to buy a team. They want to find a team that can make something happen. And actually, more and more they're looking at the mixture of the team. So dyslexics on their own are no good. It's about having a team that has everyone working to their strengths. And so I know as a dyslexic, you shouldn't really give me detail. I can see the big picture. I can see the opportunities. I'm an explorer, an adventurer, a creator, an innovator. But if you ask me to become a concluder, producer, doer, there are far better people at doing that. And so actually building teams that are a mixture of people. So it's not one or the other. But it is about having a team that can, despite the fact that competition is fierce and things are getting quite hairy, how do you get around that? And actually it's a team of great thinkers. But actually dyslexics encourage others to think bravely as well.
12 Ronnies is all about taking inventors, innovators, matching them up with a commercial team who can take their idea, as you say, they're details people and doers, and then getting the investors on board with an idea that they can have confidence in but also understand. So that's music to my ears, as it were. But one of the things that I'm trying to push with it, and one of the things I'd love to get your input on, is that I keep meeting people, and every time I go, that's an amazing idea. And it's the speed of getting it from here to fruition really, really fast. And I think you pointed out earlier in your lecture that perseverance under fire, as it were. But if you're going from that sort of initial idea to the next bit, how do you keep going like that?
So take Virgin as an example. We had a few aircraft, and we had this idea of seatback TV, and clearly passengers loved it. Business class passengers thought it was amazing. But we put 20 on an aircraft, and within a week 2 of them had been nicked. Business class passengers had decided they'd put this in their bag and try and take it home. We had a way of dealing with that, so they got stopped at customs and asked to explain what was in their bag, and once word gets around, that stops happening. But actually then we said, okay, well, what about economy? How do we can't just give this for business class passengers. But to look at a cost of retrofitting an aircraft was tens of millions of pounds. Months out of service because you have to take all the seats off, and we looked at getting one seat off and putting another seat on. Huge. So we said, okay, so what's a simpler way of doing that? Simpler way of doing it was by buying another aircraft and speccing it from new. And so let's actually think about refurbishing the fleet with newer aircraft that has this all built in. So sure enough, we went to Airbus and negotiated with them, not just for aircraft, but for aircraft with great entertainment in them. So suddenly you're a world leader in entertainment, not just in travel. And I guess for me that's the way of thinking differently about it. So you can actually work about taking step, or actually what's the big, hairy, audacious goal? What if we go to the end point and look? And it might mean that you have to end up doing lots of shorter clips or doing things in a different way. But it's definitely possible. The trouble is we tend to go north to south. What happens if you start in the south and work north, or start at the finish and look backwards?
It's a really interesting observation. These are very short interviews, Chris, so the last question is, what I'd like to do in there is to have one piece of knowledge that you can give that somebody can take away and change their state after they've listened to this. What would you say?
It's a very simple one. See things differently. Whenever you think you're stuck, you can't go any further, go outside, look in as if you're a customer, or look in as if you're a new observer to it. And there is always another way of looking at things. So constantly see things differently.
So where do people find you at Maverick?
Just maverick.com. So MAV3RICK. So Maverick is with the E switched around the other way. So
seeing things differently.
Yeah, exactly.
Chris Moss, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening. Please sign up to 12ronnies.com and subscribe to our groups and YouTube channel so you never miss a podcast from 12ronnies.com.